What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Morning Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Tyler. We're a little late, but we are here and we're talking some NBA. We're talking from Tyler from the bet side over at Run Pure Bet. So if you haven't checked that out, what are you doing? Go check it out. You can use the code GETBETS if you are not a Run Pure Sports member. You sign up now and you get the bet side along with the Run Pure Sports side. So you can get everything if you're in a legal sports betting state. If you're in a state there, it's not legal. That's fine too. If you want to find a way, you got friends to bet with or some other avenue to get the job done. But we got tons of stuff over here for you guys. And we got Tyler to talk about some NBA. Tyler, how is your day going? And how are you feeling about the NBA season wrapping up here?
It's going good. Got my morning coffee here. We're finally at the end of this season finally. And we got two really good teams to match up in this finals. Boston, one of the best defensive teams, bringing a couple stars in after a tough road to get to the finals. And then you got Golden State, the team that's been there for the last couple of years. I mean, I know they had two rebuilding years, but ever since then, they've been in the finals or not. So they're right back where they've been. They had a lot easier path. So it's going to be fun to break down. I think we're going to be on the same side, but interested to see where you come in on this.
I mean, Tyler, you know, I'm rooting for the Celtics, of course. We'll have to see, unless you're somehow on the Warriors. But I've been rooting on. I made the same mistake as last year, right? I thought the Celtics were like the Suns, and then what do, Tyler? They run into the one team that I was like, well, there's one team on the side that I'm worried about, and it was the Nets. And yeah, I mean, they beat the Nets, and then of course from there, I said to myself, Tyler, I was like, I'm not floundering. We're going the whole way. Celtics will take this thing down. Bet them to win the East. Then got that ticket cash, thankfully, against Miami, so that was good. And I'm hoping they can beat down the Warriors. My one concern, and I'm curious to get some thoughts on it from you. The Celtics have had a grind, right? Like this has not been the easiest road. I mean, you get the Nets, and that's they did kind of go through them kind of easily, right? But like everyone thought it was a little harder. But the last two have been difficult, right? The Bucks. That took 7 games. Miami, it took 7 games. And, you don't want to take 7. And the Warriors, not saying they've breezed through it all, but it's been an easier ride. I mean, obviously Denver was banged up. Yes, that series went longer than I think people expected. I think, did it go 5 or 6? Did it go 6 or no?
It went 5. They
went 5. Okay. They didn't close the one out to make the sweep. That's what it was because I remember they lost the one closeout game. That's what I'm thinking of because they talked about how closing their first game out was really difficult first time. But the next one, then they did take a little more time with the Grizzlies. You know, the Steven Adams lineup somehow gave them some problems, shocking enough. And then, I mean, the last series just felt like a breeze. I mean, it was 3-0, and then, of course, they win the one. But ultimately, it seems like the Warriors, rest is going to be a key, I think. And do you think it's a big enough factor to somehow get you on the Celtics? It sounds like you're on the Celtics side, so I kind of want to get your thoughts on that because the rest is normally something that could be a little bit of a difference, especially if this thing goes 7.
The rest, like when I look back on it, man, going the most, I kind of look back right at last year. I think the Boston's more battle tested than Golden State, more than Golden State's just rested more. You know what I mean? Milwaukee was the same way with Phoenix last year. Milwaukee ran a gauntlet to get there. They finally got there. The Suns really didn't have to play much of a hard team to get there. Everyone thought the Suns were the better team. They rolled in. All of a sudden, Milwaukee was like, oh, we've played better teams. Let's just punch this team in the mouth after they beat us twice and they won 4 straight. So I think you could see similar to that. I also think Golden State's turned the ball over a bit in these first couple series, a bit more than they wanted to, against teams that couldn't really punish them. You do that against Boston, they're going to punish you. Boston's also not letting you get set up in your defensive stances. They also hunt matchups in these last couple rounds. That's not good for a team that doesn't like the double and also is going to send Curry and Poole out there. So all those little hedge screens that Curry was doing last series where they tried to get him on Luka, but he was able to hedge it and the guy was able to get back on his guy. Good luck doing that when it's Brown or Tatum setting the screen and the other guy's dropping into the paint because they'll pass it to that guy and just let him dunk the ball, or he'll kick it out to a Smart or a Horford for 3. So I think their size and being able to switch on defense is really going to cost the Warriors problems.
Yeah, how do you think Tatum's going to do? Because I read that in the past, it seems like the Warriors have doubled him up a ton. Do you think he's going to struggle a bit on that end? Because I think that's going to be really important to note. And then also, it seems like they give up the Warriors. They've given up a bunch of those threes, and the Celtics are not really the team to do that. It seems like they might give up that like corner 3 to like Marcus Smart or Grant Williams. And like, I understand why you're doing that, but I don't know if that's going to be the best route to take, because the Warriors, they're pretty good at being able to switch, but at the end of the day, you can't beat the ball, right? The ball's just faster. And I think that could be one of the issues that they run into, is just trying to get to that final piece of the rotation. And like Grant Williams hits like a 3 in the corner, right? And Marcus Smart, or even Jaylen Brown, Al Horford gets a wide open one on the wing, which, yeah, you'll live with that. But at the end of the day, these Celtics have been making those shots. So what's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Definitely like how they're going to rotate. I think that Golden State's 100% going to have troubles on defense because they're not going to be able to hide Curry and Poole at the same time. And if Boston goes big and leaves Time Lord and Horford out there, you can't go small and put Draymond at the center spot, because now Wiggins would have to guard one of the two big guys, leaving Tatum just to run rampant on them. So the moment
Kevin Looney's in there, right? So what's the counter there? Because Looney would play a ton in this series if it's a Williams and Horford series.
Well, the counter there is, I think at that point, you've equaled everything out because the Warriors' firepower on offense is gone at that point. I'd say Boston has the better offense because you're taking a scorer off the floor for them, putting a big statue under the hoop. That's not a Golden State offense as much as it is just a counter to the size that Boston's going to put out there. So I'd say Robert Williams would just eat Looney up. He's not going to have the same success he had against Dallas, against a Robert Williams and a Horford front court. So I think he doesn't do much here. And I think those two guys can eat him up down there, to where Golden State's looking at it like, we can't play him. But at the same time, we also cannot play him, because if we take him off the floor, he's just going to eat us up on the boards, which I think is going to be another spot where Golden State's going to have troubles against this Boston size.
No, yeah, I mean, that's great points that you brought up there. I am curious to see how that small ball lineup does work, because they have some great wing defenders, the Celtics, right? This is like not a ideal matchup for the Warriors. It just isn't.
And that death lineup that the Warriors send out, there's a great counter for it on the Boston side. You send out Derek White, Marcus Smart, Tatum, Brown, and Horford.
It could be Grant Williams too, right? You could take Derek White out of there and do Grant. So like they have routes. Like if one doesn't work, they have other options they can throw in there. Correct.
Yep. I think Derek White's the guy, though. You get another guard on the floor to chase Poole and Curry and them guys around. And these guys are just going to be working so hard to get the shots they got the last 3 rounds. That lackadaisical play that you've seen them play with in the first couple of games in these series against Denver, Dallas, and Memphis. You can't do that here. You do that against Boston, they're going to eat you up. So I think game 1 does go to Golden State, because we've seen how these teams after 7-game series have played. But after that, I think it's open game. I think Boston can win any game from 2 on.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Like I'm curious how it goes, because like I think the first game the Celtics don't win. I think it's and that's the other thing that I worry about a little bit with this Boston team. I think they're the better team, but like it's tough when you play a game 7 to just like flip the script and go back to a game 1. It's not an easy thing to do. So that's one of my fears, and that's in Golden State. And like at the end of the day, the game 7 is going to be in Golden State, right? That home court advantage could end up mattering. Do you think this thing goes 7? Do you think it goes 6? What's your kind of thoughts on that? I believe you were on this. Were you on the side that Boston won in 6 against Miami? I was in the side it was going to be 6 or 7. My lean was thinking 7. And it was mainly because I was thinking the Celtics will probably win. I think they'll lose that first game. And then it went the way I thought. They started winning games, but I knew they needed a little bit of wiggle room just because things could catch up to them, like injuries. That's another thing we haven't talked about yet. Yes, we're both on the Celtics side and we think it's going to work out, but what if Robert Williams is hurt? What if Marcus Smart's injury keeps acting up? I know he was changing shoes the other day because the shoes he was wearing were not working properly. So that's another factor that just has me slightly concerned. Like, again, I'm taking Boston to win. I will be putting money on Boston to win, but injuries could also become a factor as well for the Celtics, I think.
No, 100% injuries could become a factor. But the one thing I will say about Boston to Golden State, I think Boston can withstand 1 to 2 injuries before it's like, all right, now the guys that are touching the floor, we want nothing to do with. Because if Smart's out 1 game, do we really hate Pritchard for like 18 to 20 minutes? Like, I know it's going to be bad, but like, it could be worse. Now, if a Warriors guy goes down, where are you going? Bielitsa? Like, yeah, I mean, they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, the chat said, who's the bench guy for Golden State that can make a difference besides Poole? I mean, is it Moody? Is it Bielitsa? Porter should be fine, right? I'm assuming he'll be back and ready to go.
I don't know, because I was told he was fine after he got injured. When it looked like he blew his Achilles that day, he limped off the floor, and he hasn't been back since. Yeah. So until I see him on the floor, I don't believe he's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And the one thing with the playoffs people always forget is like, just because they said he was fine for the one game, like, and sometimes they go out there and like they are not fine. Like
They said last year, Travis, when Kawhi blew his ACL out, it's just a knee sprain. It's just a knee
yeah,
sprain, just a knee sprain. When we all knew he wasn't coming back, and then a week later, like, oh yeah, by the way, his ACL tore.
yeah. Well, Peyton can be back. Richie Smalls brought this up. Is Peyton back soon? He definitely, I think, is able to return for this series. I saw that. The question is, and it's only an elbow, so I think he'll be fine. But
Does he really help in a series like this, though? I know he guarded John Morant well, but John Morant's also about 6'3". Guarding guys like Tatum and Brown who are 6'7" and higher, like the 6'3" Gary Payton, as good as he can be perimeter defending, they're going to shoot right over top of him.
yeah, it's fair. The most recent update we got 19 hours ago, Peyton, Otto Porter, and Iguodala practiced today, but didn't scrimmage. So did they really practice? I mean, let's be real. Steve Kerr said Warriors would have a better idea on their status later in the week if they scrimmage. I mean, Iguodala is an interesting one. The problem is like everyone is just going to assume like old Iguodala's back, right? Oh, it's the finals. He'll step up. Like, dude's not the same guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they might be hunting him in matchups.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, you could just watch him out there and be like, man, he does not look good. Like you could see him on the court and everyone says, oh, they got Iguodala, they'll be fine. And like, he just could look like a disaster. Same with Porter, same with Peyton. I know again, Peyton's was only like an elbow. So like, I think he'll be fine. I think conditioning wise, he'll be okay. But like you said, they probably could just shoot over him for the most part, even though he looked great for them. I mean, he was definitely looking awesome when he was out there on the floor. So it was unfortunate they lost him. Obviously, they didn't need him to get there, but who knows if he's not like up to speed here. And, you know, you can easily make mistakes, right? When you're just not playing, there could be a rust factor that kind of plays a little bit of a part. So we still don't know their statuses completely. You know, I'm watching videos now because I am kind of curious to see what Peyton's stats will look like. And he looks fine, but I think Porter and Iguodala are the two guys we're most concerned about not really getting out there because one, they're the older guys, and two, their injuries, his was just an elbow, right? I mean, that's one thing. If it's healed, it's healed. The other guys, it's a little different, correct?
Yeah, like Otto Porter with it being his ankle or his heel, like that's a lot more different than an elbow injury when it comes to basketball. Like he could be out a lot longer than Gary Payton because you figure one wrong step, now you're back in the locker room. Like your elbow, you can kind of cover that up, tape it up, put an armband on, and you'll be fine. So that'd be my thing there with Porter.
Exactly. The one thing that's sort of encouraging, at least on the Celtics side with their injuries, is like, so for one, Robert Williams looked like death in game 7. I mean, it was awful to watch, but I don't think he's like it's nice to have him, but like, I don't think he's a necessity, right? Like that's one key. Like those other guys are talking about the Celtics. I don't think they're necessities either, but like those minutes could take a toll the tighter that rotation gets, right? And their legs could get tired throughout like game 6 and game 7, where like the jump shots don't start falling because maybe, you know, your legs get a little tired if you play too tight of rotations. That can happen. We saw it with Kevin Durant. I mean, if you remember last year against the Bucks, I mean, he just literally died in game 7 in the overtime. I mean, there's nothing he could do. He was just exhausted. Not saying that'll definitely happen here in this scenario, but those are things that can happen. Don't be surprised if it's game 7 and like, you know, Curry just starts missing jump shots like late in the game because he's tired. I mean, that can happen at times. So, what do you think of the Robert Williams stuff, though, and like Marcus Smart? You think they're going to be good to go? You think there's any re-aggravation of injuries? What's your kind of thoughts on that?
I think Smart's going to be pretty much close to 100% to go. His was like a sprained ankle. You give him a couple of days off, the swelling comes down. He'll be back to being fine. The Robert Williams knee issue, I think that's one that could flare back up at any moment. You figure one wrong bump to the knee, now it's swelling back up. Now you can't run, so he's back on the bench for a couple of days. So he would be the guy I'd be more worried about. I think you're literally going to have to rip Smart's legs off to get him not to play in this finals.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I agree.
Even if that ankle's not 100%, he's still going out there and playing.
Yeah, and he hasn't looked the greatest since returning, right? I mean, I do want to call that out. He has not looked incredible, and he's one of those guys, too, like, I expect him to be out there unless his arms are falling off. And even if they are falling off, he'll probably still be out there. And then sometimes you can be a detriment to your team or obviously not perform as well. And that is the one concern I had. I don't think he was a detriment by any means. And hopefully like the time off is going to help him. And I think it should. I think he'll be okay, but he could re-aggravate it, right? There's just a lot of like dicey things I think that can happen in this series that have me concerned. We got spread in the chat, spread from the bet side. If you're, not a member at Run Pure Bets, go sign up now. Use that code GetBets. You get Run Pure Sports for a month, and you get the Run Pure Bet side for free as well. And you can get all spreads, tennis bets. So, hey, go sign up now. And he's talking about Bielitsa over Pritchard. So our resident Kings fan knows all the crappy players and which ones are better than others.
Bielitsa would get torched by anybody on that Celtics starting lineup.
No, I agree. I think I'd rather have Pritchard. I think the reason I'd rather have Pritchard is like, at that point, you're not caring about the defense. You're just hoping he makes his buckets. You know what I mean? Like you're just hoping they spreading out the floor, gets hot. Richie Smalls asked something interesting in the chat. What's up with Kuminga DMP in game 7? I mean, he's had a bunch of DMPs. I'm not a huge Kuminga guy. What's your thoughts here on this series? Could he pop up here with some of these guys banged up?
Yeah, I think it's an idea you got to keep an eye on. These guys definitely could pop up and play, but they're also 19 years old. Now the bright lights are really on. This is where it all matters. Do you really want to send the young kid out there and the lights are just too bright for him and he just freezes up right in the moment? Now his confidence is shot for the next couple years. So I think they keep those two guys as like break the glass if needed. Like they'll go to like a Damian Lee before they come to a Kuminga, because I just don't see them trying to ruin the young kid's confidence that quick. Like it worked in the first couple rounds when you're up 3-0 or up 2-1, but I don't see them going out there like in a game 1, get out there and play me 20 minutes, Kuminga.
Yeah. Which that'll all be interesting for Showdown, by the way, which we have $1 million up top for that game 1. So that's going to be intriguing. My approach, I've already decided for that. And we can talk a little bit of DFS with it. I'm going to I don't see there being like a stud I need or feel like I'm going to get right for sure at the top. Like when you talk about studs, it's like, okay, it's probably Curry, Tatum, and Brown, right? It's kind of similar. It's got some similarities to the Miami Celtics series, but the difference is Miami didn't have a lot of guys in the mid tier that can like pop off and do well. And I think both sides of the ball have really good mid tiers. And I think I'm just going to and this might be the strategy I take. I haven't ran stuff. I want to run stuff, in a couple days, but I think I'm just going to either go really low percentage on like the Tatums, the Browns, and the Currys and load up on the mid-tier captains, or I might just X those 3 guys completely and then really load up on the mid-tier captains like Pepper in Wiggins, Draymond, Clay, Smart, Horford, because I think those will get you a lot of different uniques. And you're also just avoiding those top end captains already makes you like pretty different. So that's a strategy I might try. We saw with Big T, like one of his best hits so far this playoffs was with that mid-tier Klay Thompson at the captain spot. That's another guy that you can put in there as one of those like mid-tier options. That's just going to be low owned. So I might just try to really target some of those mid-tier low owned captains to help myself get some unique builds. Do you see anyone in game 1, Tyler, that you think could jump out and be like a really good option? Like Curry's a great example. You get him at home, the fresh legs. Like Curry is someone that I'm, of course, going to be a little worried about, fading there in that spot. What's your kind of thoughts on, Curry captain and some of these other Warriors and Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, for game 1, I'm a little hesitant on Curry just in this series as a whole, because I know they're going to target him on defense. They're going to hunt this man. They're going to try and get him tired.
Yeah,
they're
not going to give him open shots. They're going to be like pass it to someone else.
Yeah, and they're also going to switch every screen that Golden State tries to set in this motion offense. So he's not going to get the open shots he's been getting in the last couple series. So I think it's going to be very tough for a guy like Curry. I know he put up 30 on Boston in the one game this season. That was also against Boston before they traded for White. They still had Josh Richardson in the lineup. Enes Freedom played 20 minutes in that game. None of those minutes are coming here. And then in the game Boston won, Clay was out and Wiggins was out. So it's like you can't really factor in the regular season matchups as much. But I just think this Boston defense, when you look at playoff numbers, they rank 2 in defensive rating just behind the Bucks. I think they're just going to cause this team so much problems. Golden State's just not going to get any of the free looks they got in the last couple series. I just think I'm going to stay away from Golden State as a whole. Like, if you captain one of the Boston guys in that game 1, how much different would you get from everyone else? Because everyone's going to Golden State in game 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff I haven't ran and looked at, but It's an interesting thought. I think there's less risk to like taking like those Celtics captains, like because we know what can happen on the Warrior side. Like you can take a Draymond captain and end up with a 20. I mean, it can happen with Wiggins, it can happen with Clay. There definitely is more risk with that. So I am curious to see how people react with that as being a factor for sure. So like Wiggins is a great one too. Like Wiggins could be way overowned. I mean, the dude has been absolutely smashing, and now it's a brand new series, and like people could be all over Wiggins in this coming up series. And like, I don't know. Do you think these wing defenders is like really the most ideal matchup? Not really. So like that's one of the
I think
concerns
this would be a bad series for Wiggins.
Yeah, I have some concerns too. Although, man, I will say I would, if the Warriors do win, I would definitely much prefer Wiggins winning a Finals MVP just to rub it in the spread's face over Curry, because it would be hilarious. So if the Warriors happen to win, I'm rooting for that because it would just be too good. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be the easiest series for a guy like Wiggins. It's going to be tough for sure.
I can tell you who's going to have a lot easier series than last one, Jaylen Brown, because he's not going to have a guy like Victor Oladipo or Jimmy Butler every time he puts the ball on the floor, just taking it from him. Like Clay's still a good perimeter defender, but he's nowhere near what those guys brought to the table last series. And Wiggins is going to be on Tatum. So I could see Brown having a lot easier of a series and just walking out there and say game one being like, oh, I can actually get to my spots and get my shots a lot easier now and hanging like a 30, 35 points.
Yeah, no, definitely good points brought up by you there. Richie's got a good point in the chat that I want to discuss. He's talking about Boston. Had they played a team like Golden State that plays much better half court offense? Miami was terrible half court. Yeah, I mean, Miami's half court offense was Jimmy Butler, dribble, 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 right? And just like find a way to get open or kick it out. And then the Bucks, yeah, I mean, their half court offense was not great without Middleton, right? I mean, it was better than Miami's, but it wasn't amazing. Do you think that could play a little bit of a factor here for the Celtics? And also keep in mind, in that Miami series, Celtics were banged up a ton. Where like when you're banged up, sometimes you give up a game here or there that you're not supposed to. And I think that definitely played a factor for the Celtics against Miami. But what's your overall thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make the argument either way. It's like, has Boston played a team like Golden State? Well, has Golden State played a team like Boston? You know what I mean? Like, it's just the argument on both sides. So, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I think that Boston's defense, with the way they're going to switch these screens and everything, it just doesn't matter when it comes down to the Warriors' offense. Like, if they get their shots, it's going to come down to Boston's defense just making mistakes. We haven't seen them make mistakes in almost they played 4 games in the first round and then 14 games. So 18 games, they haven't really made mistakes. I have to trust this defense on this offense. So definitely going to stick with Boston. Even in the half court, I think they could slow them down.
Yeah, and we got spread in the chat saying Clay is as good as Depot. Come on, and I said in the chat that he sucks, but I'm just being a little egregious there. He doesn't suck, but it is a good point brought up by spread. Like Clay is definitely not the worst defender, but I'm okay with letting like Clay shoot those shots, and I'm okay with attacking him too a bit. Like I don't think he's like anything special. I'm not scared of him defensively. What's your thoughts on that, Tyler?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think before the injuries, Clay was a great perimeter defender. But again, great perimeter defending and having the active hands that those Miami's guys had every time that ball touched the floor is a completely different thing. Oladipo had one job when he touched that floor in that game. Stop Jaylen Brown. He made sure he did it. He had 4 steals in the one game. Well, Clay's job is going to be to play defense, now get back on offense because we need points too, because not one guy is just going to be getting open against this defense. So these guys are going to be getting tired for Golden State. And just like you said, I'd rather him be shooting them shots too. Because if you tire him out, all them threes he's going to fling, God forbid he gets hot, he's going to hit them. But I think he's going to be missing a lot on tired legs. So definitely want him shooting some of those shots.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting to watch. Guys, if you could, please like and subscribe to this video. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate it over here at Run Pure Sports. Also, want to mention we got some NFL best ball going on right now. If you haven't signed up over at Underdog, go sign up now. Use the code RunPure. Gets new deposits a $100 deposit match bonus with your first deposit. So be sure to do that. Also want to mention the Members Never Win segment. I talked about, our boy Big T, who won some big money with Clay Thompson the other day. So he won like 40K in that series. We obviously been watching that Miami and Boston series, but hey, that Golden State series, Big T was on point with that. That was if you watch the Up to Lock show with him and JSU, you got all that information from him. So be sure to sign up now. That way you can check out that show. We also had Matty Ice. He won 1K in tennis. Junior won 4,700 in the MLB streets. Punisher won 20K in MLB. Talamade, he won 26K, and then Simo 620 won 100K in MLB. So we've got tons of winners in all the different sports over here at Run Pure Sports, even though it's the summertime. Yes, baseball's the biggest sport right now, but we got the NBA finals going on. We got NASCAR, MMA. We have it all. So if you're a sports fan, Run Pure Sports is the place to sign up. Use that code GETBETS. You get the bet side for free for an entire month, and you get the Run Pure Sports side as well. Tyler, let's talk about, we talk about some props a little bit here. Do you see any that you're interested in so far to start this thing out? They're already up on DraftKings if you want to check those out. I was surprised to see them up. Horford's at like 10.5 points. I saw that one popped up. I thought that was a pretty interesting one. You got Draymond Green at 8.5 points. Like you could have Draymond at 8.5 or Horford at 10.5, which I know sometimes Horford doesn't shoot a ton, but I do think this could be a pretty good Horford series, depending on what they do with Draymond Green. So Wiggins is at 16.5, Tatum 28.5 points, and then Curry, he is at, I can't find his right now. I don't know if he's down at the bottom, 27.5 points. So Tatum's at the highest there. The highest assists, I assume that's going to go to Curry. Let's see what his are.
It might be
Actually,
Draymond.
the assists are very low. The highest assist is 5.5, and that goes to Curry or Draymond or Marcus Smart. Yes, that's pretty interesting. Actually, yeah, Draymond's is technically the highest because it's minus 155. Which, man, that's kind of crazy to think that there's a finals where Draymond has the highest assist rate and no one else. Because just simply that's not the power forward who's going to have the highest assist number. And then rebounds, it's Horford is at the highest and Looney both at 9.5. So any props stick out to you so far here, Kyle?
I kind of like that Curry under because just like I said, I think they're going to make it, of course, priority number one to stop the best guy on that team. They're going to force him to run around screens. I think he's going to have some troubles in the first couple games before maybe catching his feet under him and doing good, maybe say game 5 or game 3 or 4 in Boston. But I think it's going to take a little bit for him. So definitely like the under there. I talked about Brown stepping up and having bigger games. His points props at 24.5. I like the over there. Some of the other props I was looking at, Mangone, just for the series as a whole, not just game 1. Game 1, I think, goes to Golden State, but I think Boston wins the series. If you bet that game 1 series parlay at that Golden State Boston, it's plus 390. I like that. I don't mind doing the series spread of Boston minus 1.5 plus 210 because I think they finish them off in 6. And then there's these series correct orders you can bet. Now, I know you got to get pretty much dead on right with these, but we're betting 50 to 1s here. Golden State takes game 1. Boston takes game 2. Golden State takes game 3. Boston wins the series out from there. They take game 4, 5, 6. That's 50 to 1. Or if you go Golden State, game 1, Boston games 2 and 3. Golden State game 4, Boston finishes off 5 and 6. That's also 50 to 1. I like both of those because I think it's just the interchange of game 4 and game 5. And then they have also the highest rebound average, highest 3-point average, highest point average in this series, and highest assists. Highest rebound average, they have Horford listed first at plus 130, which is understandable. He's going to play the most minutes of bigs. But Draymond at plus 750 isn't a realistic look. He's going to be on the floor just as much. Tatum gets boards pretty well, plus 900. If you think Robert Williams plays a lot in this series, he's 11 to 1 to lead this series in boards. If he plays a ton of minutes, he could easily lead this series. Highest assists, of course, Draymond's first, but give me Boston's point guard, Marcus Smart, at plus 260 to lead the series in assists. He averaged 7 last series. If the Warriors have troubles on offense, 7 could be the leading assist number. And then the highest threes average, of course, Curry shaded to the top. Tatum plus 230 when he's going to fire about 7 to 10 a game. Clay at plus 410. Jaylen Brown at 8 to 1. And even if you want to get crazy and Smart has a big series, 32 to 1.
Yeah, I was going to ask what Smart's was because I know they'll let him shoot, right? Like not saying
they're going to let him fling him. So
willing to shoot.
Yep. So if he gets hot, he could easily average 4 threes a game here. So I mean, I think those are some looks I would look at for sure in this series.
Yeah, I don't mind some of those. Those are really interesting. That series bet. Obviously,
if you're on our side and you like Boston, how much of a chance do you say Tatum wins the MVP if they win? Like a 50% chance?
So I agree on that. I think if they win, Tatum probably wins MVP, right?
Okay, so would you say just take them to win MVP plus 180 over the plus 130 on their series money line?
typically, but like, man, like I don't know. The only issue I have is like I do think there's some Jaylen Brown routes for sure. Like I don't there's definitely are some Jaylen Brown routes. It's not totally, and I think I'd want more. I know it was plus 200 before. It was plus 200. So like that losing that like juice already kind of has me bothered if that was the case. So I don't know. I'd probably, and part of me is like, it's the fan of me too. Like I'm a fan of the Celtics. Like if they win, I probably want it to be like they just win. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
understand what you're doing and it can work, but I do have some fears that the Celtics can find other weird ways for it to happen. But I agree. If Tatum wins, I mean, if the Celtics win, Tatum probably gets it. I don't see the only route I can see where it doesn't happen is, and this is a very low outcome, is like Marcus Smart shoots amazing from downtown for like 2 of the games and it's just like on fire, which I don't see that happening. I doubt Al Horford gets it. I just don't think he can do it consistently throughout the series. And then it's Jaylen Brown. It's like him just taking advantage of like an easier matchup and then just them completely selling out on Tatum, which I could see the Warriors sell out on Tatum a ton, where it causes Jaylen Brown to just really catch fire throughout the series. I think that is a route that could happen. Do you think I'm correct on that?
Yeah, I think so. My only worry there, though, is like the Warriors as a team, like as a whole, this whole playoff series in the last couple of years, if they were in the playoffs, not counting the 2 rebuilding years, they just don't like the double team. Like, I think that could be detrimental in this series because if you let one of these guys get hot and now you try and send the double team, all these Boston guys can move the ball. God forbid another guy on that offensive line is hot. Tatum's hitting threes. Now you got to double him. Now he's throwing passes out of the double team to a Marcus Smart who's hitting threes. Now you're just in a world of troubles. So I'm very interested to see how they do this. If they're going to double early and not let guys get hot, or if they're just going to try and stick to their ways and just say, we're not double teaming unless it comes down to it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do. I know they did in the regular season, so kind of curious about that. Richie Small said,
like, couldn't you see like late in games, man, going where it's like a 2-point game? Boston's hunting Courier Poole. Now Courier Poole's matched up with Tatum, and all of a sudden they're like, don't double him, leave him alone. 3-point play, Boston steals the game. Kerr's sitting there, and he's like, all right, next time we're going to double. And now they're in this predicament of now we don't know what we're going to do in these situations.
Well, Michael in the chat says Brown will not have a good series. He's going to be tired chasing Clay around for 30, 20, 42 minutes. Like fitness ain't a problem for either of these teams. Let's at least go there. I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, but yes, your teams can get tired if you play like too tight of rotations in game like 5, 6, and 7. That's where the fitness could start coming in. Like that's where I'm talking about that there. Also, Jaylen Brown will be fine. He's going to be able to chase around Klay Thompson and do an okay job. I don't think
he's not just going to be chasing Klay either. They switch every screen. So any screen that comes, he's just going to stay where he's at.
That's correct as well. So even if you are chasing for a little bit, right? Like let's say you are chasing someone around. Like the Celtics team is in good shape. You know what I mean? The only issue is there's some injury situations that are going on with them. Richie says, if Iggy can win a finals MVP, Smart can for sure. Yeah, so I agree with that. Spread is asking, is this Run Pure or Boston Sports Talk Radio? Spread, I mean, listen, if you want to come on and defend yourself, you can. I'll send you the link. That way you have the open opportunity right now, Spread, to come and defend the Golden State Warriors. So, hey, I'm happy to have you here. I'm opening up the link right now from Simon, and I'm copying it. That way, you don't have an excuse. So that's why we like the Celtics here. We think they're the winners.
Here comes the, we got Steph Curry. We got the experience. We got Draymond, all that. The NorCal talk. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Spread is going to be on this Warrior side. We'll see if he ends up joining here. I do want to go back to that one series bet that you talked about that I thought was interesting. The guessing the exact series. Which one is your favorite? Like, so we've done these a bunch on the, you've done it with Spread over on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed over there, go subscribe, get notified when we go live. Tyler and Spread, they go live for all the NBA Finals games. They'll be breaking it down, and they give out some crazy parlays at times, some crazy long shots. And you did a great job of hitting a ton of them. Not sure the exact record on it. Again, these were like 25 to 1s and just like some really deep shots. And it felt like you were hitting like at least one a week at one point. It was crazy. And then you went on a little bit of a streak as well. So what was that 50 to 1 one again that you talked about? Which one's your favorite if you had to pick?
My favorite of those 2 orders is going to be the one Golden State wins game 1. Boston takes game 2 and 3, Golden State takes game 4, Boston takes game 5 and 6 and ends it in 6. And that one's 50-1. Because of course, I think Golden State takes game 1. I think Boston gets that first win in Oracle from another team. And I think that kind of gives Golden State's like a little bit of a scare.
Yeah.
They take the one game in Boston and then lose the game in Golden State. And now it's like, oh, we got to go back to Boston for an elimination game. And they end it on their floor.
Yeah, I think that might be the better route. At first, I thought the route I was going to like the most was Golden State was up 2-1, and then the Celtics go 3 in a row. But it's hard to win 3 in a row on the Warriors. Like that's a different.
You know which the other one that stood out to me, and the only reason I didn't bring it up is because they basically cut the price in half for this one. It's 25-1 for Golden State to win games 1 and 2, and then just Boston rips off 4 wins and walks away in 6.
What is it? And what's the what is it?
25-1.
Yeah,
so they kind of lean towards that a bit more, but I don't see that happening.
I like more of like the zigging zag one, I guess you could say. And I do kind of agree with you. Like I think for sure Warriors won game 1. I think Celtics then game 2. And then from there, I think the 3 and 4 is a tough one to figure out. And at some point, if the Celtics are going to win the series, they're going to have to win one on the road, right? And I think that they're going to win that first one, but winning that other one, stealing another one, it's not a bad approach to get that 50-1 odds. Like you're basically just betting on them to win 2 road games. It's just an interesting bet. It's nothing like you're not building your bankroll off this. Like these long shots they're just like fun bets to make at times. And
they're pizza money bets. Your large pizza you would order to watch the game. That's what you put on these kind of bets. Like you don't go bet in the house on these.
Exactly. So just wanted to mention that for sure. We got Adam G in the chat saying Celtics have size at all positions. So spread, if you're too scared to come talk about the Warriors, we still got Boston Sports Radio in the chat going on. You guys could please like and subscribe to this video. It helps us out a ton over here at Run Pure Sports. Let me go through some of the schedules that we got going on for the rest of the week. So we got today, 4:45, MLB Swing for the Fences show. We got Big T, Hoop, and Title. They'll be breaking that down. Then we got the MLB Final Countdown with Holden, DC, AP. After that, tonight, Strokes Gain Show. We got golf. It's Memorial. This is a really big event. Snyder, AP, and Hoop. They'll be talking golf. So be sure to check that out. Should be a great show. Then tomorrow morning, it's going to be me on the Mangone and Friend show. And we got me and JJ, another guy from the bet side, hopping on. We're going to talk about the early MLB slate. We'll also talk about some bets as well. So it should be a pretty good time. Excited to get together with JJ and do that. Then we got the Pin Seeker show at 3:00. Tambo, Uncle T, Big T. We'll be talking about the Memorial. So you do not want to miss out on that. Then you got Title. You got me. We'll be doing some MLB on I believe we're on the schedule. Yep, me and Title. We're on MLB for Wednesday. And the final countdown will be Holden, DC, Steve Boynton. And then you'll got followed up with there's no NBA showdown for that. That'll be on Thursday. Sorry, I'm looking at the calendar wrong. So you got the final countdown at 6:00 with Holden, DC, and Steve Boynton. And then Thursday is when you'll get that NBA final countdown show. You'll get that with JSU. You'll get it with Big T. On the morning show, I'll also talk about that too, because it's a big one. I mean, we got $1 million up top. So we're going to talk about that for sure at 11 a.m. We'll talk about the finals a little bit too. Don't know who I'm having on yet, but we'll definitely be talking basketball. So be sure to come back for that. Tyler, we got Spread here to back us up, take us down. Spread, what do you think? You're not on the Boston Sports Radio Talk. You're in California there. You Homer, Golden State guy. What is your thoughts here on this series?
Yeah, man, I got to echo some of these callers from KMBR and the local sports stations up here. I mean, hey, I love you guys, but this Boston Slurp Fest has got us top. First of all, okay, the better team in the Celtics Heat series. Grant you that completely, right? The Heat are a bunch of undrafted free agents, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, right? I'll grant you that. This idea that Boston's just the better team, clearly, I don't get it. This team's made the final 6 times in the last 8 years. Like, what do they need to do to be the better team? Who's the best player on the floor? Is Tatum better than Curry? Because last series I heard that Luka was better than Curry, and I didn't necessarily agree with that. I mean, this idea that Boston's defense is going to be so much better and the Warriors don't have size. We got Looney, not Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond Green. I mean, I don't think that these guys aren't going to have an option for it. Like, where are we coming here? Why are we not giving the Warriors their respect? I need to know, Travis.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not giving them respect. I just think Boston's the better team. I mean, I talked
Like
about
how?
it.
Like how are they better?
Well, they're
Is
better
Jaylen-
on both ends of the floor.
Is
defensively
Jaylen
and
Brown better than
offensively.
Draymond Green?
What?
Is Jaylen
Yes.
Brown better? No
Yes.
way. No way.
I mean, they're like such different players. I mean, that's the one issue here. But like,
right. One guy's an ISO scorer that can go cold. One guy's a guy that completely changes and is one of the best defenders of his generation.
I mean, he's like, and there's like, if I told you Draymond Green, right? Like we're doing a draft, right? And you're finding guys that are like Draymond Green. Like there's not many like him, right? Like, so that's like, they're just so hard to compare the two. The one thing that's nice about Jaylen Brown is he's got a lot of similarities to Jason Tatum, where like you have to pick your poison, right? Which like, yes, on the Warrior side, you can make arguments that, yeah, you're going to pick your poison on certain things, but like at the end of the day, I just think the Celtics defense is too long and too good. Like, I just think it's going to cause problems for this Warriors team.
So how much better
were they able to find mismatches everywhere else in these series against these bad teams in the West? Good luck finding those matchup against Boston.
What was the mismatch in Dallas? Like where
You're
was Dallas'
You're
weakness?
pulling Luka to the outside, who has bad lateral quickness, and just going right around them.
I mean, Dwight Powell
can do
definitely
that.
got exploited big time by Kevon Looney. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah,
be,
like
I don't want to
Dwight
be here
Powell
and be
got
slurping
eaten up,
Looney,
like-
but he looked great in that series.
Yeah,
You're
I mean
playing
that definitely
Denver,
was.
Jokic with 4 G leaguers. Memphis had lost Jaw halfway through the series.
The one point I get what you're saying, Fred. The one thing I will say about the Warriors is, and I definitely don't want to disrespect them. They're great and all, but like they haven't had that like really that many impressive wins so far in the postseason. But I think it's going to be a fun series. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to go 6 or 7 for sure. Like I definitely feel good about that. My reason I think it could go 7 is I get worried that the Celtics injuries just start to bite them. That's the one big thing that I'm very concerned about. Like we saw it last series, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues. Also, what if Robert Williams is actually really banged up and just doesn't play much this series? Well, then that loses another chess piece in the chess match that the Warriors could solve something and cause some problems. So I definitely have some concerns. I'm not counting out the Warriors completely. I am a Boston Celtics fan, and yeah, I felt like I should have picked them earlier on. And, we talked about this in February, Spread. I was like, I looked at the calendar. I was on a Tuesday show with you, like late January, early February. And I said, this team looks for real, but like they beat in like the Magic and all these crappy teams. And I was buying it, but I wasn't buying it. And I'm not going to just back off now. You know what I mean? Like I felt really mad at myself because I spotted that early on, and I should have like been betting their future bets before. And then I remember they kept going down, and I was like, I feel like I lost value. And here we are. Now they're sitting here in the finals, and I'm picking them to beat the Warriors still at dog money.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you like the Celtics, I wouldn't worry about the injuries as much, right? I saw a great tweet. I can't remember who said it, right? But he said the Miami Heat look like the reason that the football team thinks they can win basketball intramurals, right? I mean, that was just a knockdown, drag out series. And then, you'd flip to the next game when they're on, right? And they're out there just playing free flowing basketball, not the same amount of contact. I mean, the Warriors definitely aren't going to get physical with them the way that Miami did. So I wouldn't be worried about injuries.
Spread. I mean, when you play the Bucks and then you go and play the Heat, like that's a lot to take on. Like it can take a toll on your body as you get to the next series, if that makes sense.
All right, but let me go through these again real quick. Who's better, Steph Curry or Jason Tatum? The fact that you're thinking about this is making me crazy.
I mean,
the guy with 3 rings that changed the game of basketball.
Yeah, but sometimes I said this, Red, the playoff stars are born. Like, we don't put Tatum in
he was born like 7 years ago.
Well,
like, we're still waiting for Tatum to breach.
He's averaging
we might need a C-section
over the last 16
But here's the thing.
Games.
He has taken the step to like the top tier like now.
Every other game, he can't put 2 games together in a row. He has to put out a 12-point performance and go 4 from 16. Then he has to go text Kobe to have a freaking good game. They can't play 2 games in a row. Okay, so the fact I can't believe that we're even thinking about this. Then we already did Draymond.
I'll give you Curry over Tatum. I think it's.
Let's go to number 3. Who's better, Clay or Marcus Smart?
Well, let's go back to the other one. You still think it's Draymond over Jaylen?
Whoa! He just put Draymond over Clay.
Sure.
Well,
right
now,
there's no way Dre's the second best player
because of what he brings to the table.
Yeah, he is. He's like the team leader. He's the best defender.
He brings so much to the table.
Yeah, he runs the offense.
all that stuff he brings to the table is not going to matter in this series when they're like, shoot the ball, big man. Like, they're going to force him to shoot
He's
the
just
ball.
going to drive to the rim.
And they're going to block the shit out of him.
We'll see. We'll see.
Because he's 6'6".
I mean,
by the way, Sylvester Payne has the best comments in the chat. He says Tatum just put out Giannis, Katie, and Jimmy, and Jimmy is Michael Jordan's
No,
son,
the
if you want a
Celtics put out
conspiracy
those
theory.
teams.
And
The Celtics put them out. Tatum didn't do it by himself. You switch Tatum, none of those teams win. You put KD on the Celtics team. Celtics still win. You put Giannis on the Celtics team. They still win. You put Jimmy on the Celtics team.
You put Dame on Golden State. They're right where they're at.
Oh, give me a break. Okay, I love Dame. We're not getting into this. Who's better though, Klay Thompson or Marcus Smart?
I mean,
I think I'm going 3 for 3 with the best players in the series here.
I don't totally agree with that. I mean, but that's tough because I'm not like as high on Klay
If we're going off of careers, you have us beat. If we're going off of right now,
we're going off right now. We're going right now because careers.
I don't think you're as far ahead as you think you are.
Yeah, I think it's a lot closer. And
I think you guys are discounting Klay's defense a bit. Like
maybe I'm discounting it too much, but I don't.
Marcus Smart's a way better defender, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, there's no chance he explodes for like 18 points in a quarter like Klay.
Well, he can.
I wouldn't say no chance.
So I think anyone can at that point. But
yeah,
I think Smart can. He has the ability to, and he hasn't. The one thing he definitely hasn't shown in this postseason is he hasn't been that much of a detriment to you, like shooting the 3 ball. Like in the past, like 3 years ago, he was the guy that was like a detriment to you shooting the 3 ball. Like they're not just leaving wide open. You put Marcus Smart in that offense, get more of those open looks, playing next to Steph Curry. I don't know. I'm not saying he'd be the shooter Klay Thompson is, but it'd be even easier probably for him to make those shots. And he'd play great defense next to Curry. So like,
I'm just saying this, if the game's on the line, the Warriors are down by 2, the ball goes to Marcus Smart for a wide open 3. I'm pretty happy about that if I have a Warriors ticket. On the other side, Klay Thompson gets a wide open 3 down by 2. I'm also feeling pretty good about it on the Warriors side. So then the bench. And I think that's where you might have the argument, right? I think you're going to get me at 4 and 5, right? Because Williams and Horford are better than Looney. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you can make an argument for Wiggins and Horford, but wouldn't you say that's kind of a wash the way Horford's playing right now? I mean, great defense, open shooting. They're kind of doing the same things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, the one thing that's really nice is they got Horford, right? And Horford, like, he's not a bench guy. Like, he gets a huge advantage over some of those other guys that you mentioned. Like, who's your 4th in line? Like, it's a huge gap.
I'd say it's Wiggins for me, but I'm saying Horford's probably about equal there, right? Williams is way better than Looney. So I'm not saying that you know, it's just here and there, but I feel like I got the top 3 guys. I'm pretty close to number 4. And then at the bench is where I think you start to get me, right? I mean, I got Jordan Poole.
Your main bench guy has went ghost in the last 2 series. He hasn't been good since Denver.
Who, Poole?
Yeah.
He didn't need to be good though.
Yeah, but he better be able to flip that switch now.
Yeah, we'll see though. He still gets those nice shots, and I like his ability to create off the bench. And when they're running the bench minutes, right, with all bench players on the court, he's going to be the best scorer on the court.
Now let me ask you something else, Spread.
All right.
Take the logos away from these teams. Take the aura away because you got that Golden State aura around them. Tell me this isn't like logos away from the teams, team A, team B. This doesn't match up like last year. Milwaukee had to kind of walk through a way harder schedule to where Phoenix kind of cakewalked their way to the finals.
But the difference is Phoenix had no experience, and they had a bunch of players that are known for crumbling in the playoffs. Curry gets better in the playoffs.
But now you're bringing back it where it's talking team A, team B. You're going back to your Golden State aura. So that's what I'm trying to say here is like Boston had the way harder road. Golden State kind of cakewalked their way here. The stuff they did in them first 3 series about like turning over the ball, can't do that here.
Okay, yeah, and you're right, but I just don't think you can take the aura away, right? It's just like, if I was going to handicap the Bulls versus the Jazz in that series, right, 98, it's like, can't take away the fact they've won the last 5 times they played together, right? I mean, the only team to beat this team was that crazy LeBron team. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see Tatum on that same level of LeBron being able to do it. Now, to be fair, he does have the way better supporting cast than Braun had in that series, I believe. Apologies to
Definitely.
all the Kyrie Irving fans out here in the chat, but
The other team doesn't have. I mean, I guess the Warriors supporting cast. You can argue. I mean, they played a bunch of different times, right? The time well, I guess they didn't play with KD, right? So but the KD years they were incredible, and then the years before that with the Harrison Barnes years, I know you know that with him being in the Kings, he's nothing special, and that cast wasn't as good. I think this cast is really good. You know what I mean?
yeah, I do too. I think GP2 is great. I think you guys were kind of underrating him, getting hunted there. I think he's going to be fine.
I don't think he gets hunted as much as Curry and Poole, but I think in some defensive spots where it's like, okay, you stopped me from getting to the rim with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. I'm 6'8". I'm just going to shoot right over you.
Right, and that's Tatum's thing. But like I said, the best thing to do is just play Tatum under the night after he goes for 45 points. The guy can't. He hasn't put the Celtics should have run away with that last series. And they've done this a lot of times. Okay, they look great versus Brooklyn, but against Milwaukee, didn't it feel that way too, where they just kept throwing out these duds? Warriors had a couple duds too, but it's like one per series. The Celtics give me 2 or 3 duds per series.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be an interesting series. We'll get your pick here in a second. Guys, if you could please like and subscribe to this video. It helps us out a ton. We would appreciate it over here at Rumpier Sports. Also, if you haven't checked out the bet side, what are you doing? Go over to Rumpier Bets on YouTube after the show. Go subscribe to the channel. That way you can check out Spread giving his breakdowns with Tyler throughout the entire finals. You do not want to miss out on that. Spread. Now that we're back on 95.7 the game with you.
Did you look that up or did you know it?
No, I looked it up. So, 95.7 the game with Spread Astaire, the Warriors expert. What is your pick? Like, who do you got? And do you have any props too to kind of let the people know about anything you like for the first game?
Yeah, so I haven't looked at the prop market yet. I definitely do like the Warriors in this series. I don't know how many games it goes, though. You made a great point, though. I love having that Game 7 at home. I think that's going to mean so much to the team. Golden State's now, like 41-10 at the home on the year. I don't think they've lost a game at Chase Center this playoffs. Am I correct? So, I mean.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Game 7 means so much here. And we saw it in the Milwaukee series where I felt it was funny, everyone's talking about avoiding Brooklyn. The fact that Celtics took on Brooklyn, right? But then, we had to play Brooklyn. First of all, they smacked them down. Fantastic. Gives you some confidence. Then they got the Game 7 against Milwaukee at home, right? Meant so much. And then against Miami. I mean, you talked about it before, right? And it was why I kind of had to concede, even though I was Team Heat to start the series. But Boston was just much better. But then, now that I don't think we get just that freebie of Boston is the better team for this series. I think that, you can make plenty of arguments that Golden State's more talented and has a better roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun series. Let's at least say that. Like, I know we're on different sides and we've been duking this out, but it's going to be a very good series. I don't
think it's going to be a dud like the last couple series.
No, this series is going to be chess matches all the way through.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel very good about that being a fun series. I felt that way with the Bucks. I thought that would be a sweet series, and it was. I didn't like the last couple series, although they'd be kind of ugly, but man, we've earned it too. We've watched some pretty bad basketball. It feels like I should say bad basketball. It's probably the wrong way I'm wording it, but we watched some ugly games, which has been unfortunate. So, and we got some Wiggins MVP chatter in the chat. Spread. What's your thoughts on?
Wouldn't that be such the Iguodala move? I mean,
I'd love it. I said it before, Spread. If the Warriors win, I don't want Curry to win MVP just so I can keep this bid up with you.
I don't know. It just might be too much because, first of all, the voters are so aware of it, right? It might be a lifetime achievement award.
Correct.
And then it's just how much gravity do they give Tatum, right? Because Iguodala got that award for shutting down LeBron, but then you look at like LeBron's numbers; they were still like ridiculous.
Yeah, so shutting down LeBron, averaging 40, 13.
Yeah, now it's even more head scratching when you look at it, right? But I don't know if they give Tatum that same gravity. I don't know if shutting down Tatum gives you the same result, right? I mean, I almost think like Clay would be the sneaky guy, right? to steal the award just because he'll get hot and Curry's going to feed him if he's hot. Curry's not, if Clay starts hitting, he's going to feed him. So, I mean, I almost think that he's got a better chance to steal it. But no, I feel like if the Warriors win, this will be a lifetime achievement award almost no matter what happens. I think they're going to give it to Curry no matter what if they win.
Yeah, and spread we got in the chat. I didn't see this chatter in the chat today. Adam G says this is a different beast of a defense in my humble opinion. And Caesar comes in with Adam. Don't compare it to the Pistons defense of Ben Wallace. I did not see a Ben Wallace reference happening today in the chat.
Let's go. Let's bring him back. I love the old school talk. Originally when he said Pistons defense, Travis, my mind flew to Bill Lambier and Rick Mahorn. So it shows you how old I am, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say that's where your mind went. I'm in the Ben Wallace. So
we went to Ben Wallace and Tayshaun Prince and those guys. Spread went way back.
Yeah, but those who remember, I mean, that was almost like the same Miami Heat deal. They would just jack you up the second you went in the lane.
The masked man Rip Hamilton as well. That was a team right there. Chauncey Billups. It's a good group. The old school Pistons reference. Did not see that coming here on the show. Spread. What did you say? Did you say Warriors are going to win in how many? Did you say 6, 7, 5, 4? What's your thoughts?
It's going to be 6 or 7. I don't know which one. Honestly, like I almost feel like just if I were to do it, I just put both in because they got to be at least plus 200 on both, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's probably not bad to put it on both or just pick the team.
And I heard you guys on here. Tyler's taking Boston minus 1.5. I guess that makes sense if we don't think they can win in Game 7 in Golden State. Or
what is the 1.5 line, Tyler?
You got plus 200, right?
Plus 210.
Yeah, okay. That's a good number. I mean, if you like Celtics, I actually do like that a lot because, like I said, I think it's gonna be really hard to win Game 7 out here in Frisco.
Some other ones I wanted to touch on with you guys. FanDuel has, I'm pretty sure DraftKings has them too. There's a tab that says popular parlays. Steph Curry highest points in threes average in this series plus 430. If you think Tatum does either of those, plus 550.
I think Tatum will have more points than Curry.
There's other ones like Steph Curry to score 40 plus points in any game in this series, and Golden State wins the series plus 340. Tatum to do that same thing, score 40, and Boston wins the series plus 500. I'd say either of those guys probably has a big game at some point in this series. May not get the 40, but at that price, it might be worth it. Steph Curry to average 25 and Golden State wins plus 145. Like, there's some very good props in here in these popular parlay tabs. Tatum to average 25 and Boston wins. Like, if you have a certain guy you think has a great series, averages a ton of points here, or has a big game at any point in this series, you could find a great parlay in that tab.
Is there any bets on Scott Foster extending the series ever?
Oh my gosh.
No, but I do have one.
That's the most tired narrative of all.
I do have one nugget on him, Travis. The Boston's like, I believe it's like 11-0 in their last 11 games played. Yeah, it's a 12-0 with their last 12 played with him. Yeah, so
that's great.
We love us some.
I mean, to be fair, Boston wins like 75% of their games, though, right? So I mean, they're going to be that way with most referees, right?
I love seeing the Scott Foster video, like Game 6, Scott Foster's in. It's like the legacy
ref
game.
Highlight.
It's him shaking hands with people, and I love
the montage.
I love the Scott Foster montage. It's so good. Oh man. So I mean, I'm sure we'll get at least 1 or 2 Scott Foster games for sure. Who knows how many we'll actually get, but like when it's like 2-1, Celtics are down 2-1, Game 4 in Boston, Scott Foster's showing up. He's putting his game on for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man, too good.
I had a couple nuggets I want to talk on in this series though.
Okay,
we talked about the Celtics run through the playoffs. What if I told you the sweep was the closest series, point differential wise? They were plus 18 versus the Nets. They were plus 55 versus the Bucks. They were plus 37 versus the Heat. So if you go off that, technically the 4-0 sweep was the closest. Another thing, Boston's switching defense versus Golden State in years 18, 19, and 22, throwing out the 2 rebuild years. So you can't hit me with that stat spread. They held this Golden State offense to 0.853 points per possession. That was in the KD years. So that motion offense and this switching defense, seems like the switching defense got the better of them. Boston is one of the
I'll be honest, that's one of the way they matched up is one of my biggest hesitancies for not just unloading on the Warriors here. I mean, if it was the Heat,
oh yeah, if it was the Heat,
I wouldn't even be here right now because I'd be down on
the
bank getting more money out of my mortgage. Right, because they were going to crush the Heat. Boston has the best record against this team in the Kerr era, right? And I'm including.
Yep, they're the only team with a winning record against Kerr.
How do you think Udoka does as a finals rookie versus Kerr, who obviously have so much experience?
I think he'll be fine.
What about
he comes
you,
from
Trav?
a great. He comes
going to
from a
outcoach
great
him?
coaching tree.
Is he going to outcoach Steve Kerr? Both members of the Popovich tree. Travis, how does it work?
I think we overrate like I think the coaching matters when there's a detriment on the opposite side in like Mike Budenholzer and all the other clowns that I like to make fun of. I think that's where the advantage is normally biggest. Like when it's like two good ones against each other, like everyone was talking like, oh, Eric Spoelstra's the better coach. I was like, I mean, is it that big of a difference?
It kind of was though. That like looking back, like that team's not good. I mean, like they're good, but I'm just saying
no,
the
it's
collection
fair.
of talent. Like you go to trade those guys off, you're not getting a lot in return. If you blew up the Heat today, you're getting a bunch of second round picks back.
One thing that was really I think impressive with that series and sort of fluky as well is I think it was what was the stat I said? I told you it when it was 2-1. The Heat had like the Boston Celtics led 10 of the 12 quarters and were down 2-1. Like I think there was some flukiness there to that and also the Celtics had some injuries.
Yeah, because you win 25-24.
I just think that was
right?
I think that was such a fluky series for it to be as close as it was. And then of course Jimmy put his cape on a couple games, right? Like I know the whole Draymond Green said he's something he shouldn't and really got the Heat fired up to win that one game. I think that played a little bit of a factor. Like,
does that really? If you need Draymond Green to talk crap to you to get motivated, that's a problem.
I think it helps sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Like for instance, like I don't know, like when like I'm the type of person, Big T made fun of me for it, but when I was playing basketball in the backyard, I was like trying to find ways to make Big T.
Yeah, but you're not a professional basketball player.
I know, but guys do that. Guys do that.
They talk crap about your lineup. Are you going to try harder when you're making your MLB lineup tonight? Are you going to be like, Big T talk crap about my lineup?
Yeah,
I'm
running
an extra
set
set
of projections. I'm going to lock in a little harder. I might start a little earlier.
Okay, tonight. Well, I'm talking crap about you. You're not cashing in MLB today, Travis. There's no way that you have a screenshot tomorrow from Major League Baseball today.
All right.
Incoming to the group chat later. Just
give me
10%. I'm locking in today. I'm not even on a show, but you know what? I'm going to lock in and I'm going to make the best damn team I can tonight, man. But yeah, I mean, that was a whole funny thing that went on too, the whole narrative with that. But yeah, overall, it's been a fun playoffs, but I wish it was a little better. It's been fun DFS wise, betting wise as well. Tyler, what's your pick? You got 6 or 7. What's your final pick on that? And I think Spread took 6 or 7. He said he bet both. What about you, Tyler?
I'm going 6. Give me Boston in 6. And that Pistons reference, Mangone, it's making me want to sprinkle a little 5 games where they just come out and just floor them.
Oh man, you're
gonna get one last little nugget spread, spread and Travis. Lakers eliminated Miami in the finals. Jimmy Butler was on that team. They won the finals. The year before that, Kawhi knocked them out when he was on Philly. Toronto won the finals. Last year, Milwaukee swept them. They won the finals.
I'm about to look up some astrology chart for Steph
Boston.
Curry. Oh, Steph Curry's
last 3 teams to knock out Jimmy Butler won the finals. Give me Boston.
There you go. Adam G's got it. Smart's going to be on Curry, going to lock him down. Spread is going to be tilted. Curry will.
Curry
will not win another Finals MVP.
Another like he has one already.
Yeah, that Western Conference Finals MVP was stupid. By the way, I didn't. Who got it for Boston? I didn't even see. Was it Tatum?
It had to be Tatum, right?
I figured. It's just a dumb award. I don't know why we added that thing in, but whatever.
You already know Larry Bird did not want that named after him.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, it was cool to see obviously a Celtic get it first, but yeah, I thought that was lame. I'm with you, Tyler. I'm leaning to 6, but man, the one thing in the back of my mind is it's not going to be that easy to close out Golden State. Like it's going to be hard to like put them away. So I might lean the 7. I still haven't decided yet, but I like those series bets that you talked about a little bit, like just picking each one. I'm gonna look at those a little bit and mess around. Phila is in the chat. He says Jaylen Brown is an astrology guy, so watch out, Spread.
No, he's not. He's like one of the smartest dudes in the NBA. He can't be an astrology guy.
Nah, you never know.
The funny joke was that Jaylen Brown is who Kyrie Irving thinks he is, right? Because Jaylen Brown is actually
I remember seeing that.
he's so intelligent when he speaks about the social issues, and he's not just like burning sage, like hoping everybody, starts acting right. So I'd be surprised, but hey, I don't know that much about Jaylen Brown. Do you know he was a Cal guy though, right?
Yeah.
Another Northern California guy. I mean, hey, we're representing this finals. I got to be happy here, Travis. So, are you going to bring in like some Boston Celtics cheerleaders next to go ahead and finish off this breakdown?
No, I mean, I should. Maybe I'll have some callers call in from the Boston radio station.
Really, I think that's what you just go straight to a bar, start interviewing them all with the thick accents.
Yeah, there's the one thing before I did DFS spread, I worked a business job and I drove in, and every day, because it wasn't in South Jersey, it was in Princeton. So like I kind of would get close enough to Philadelphia. I would listen every day to the sports talk radio. Nothing beats Philadelphia sports talk radio. I'm telling you.
Oh, I can imagine. It's got to be close. Boston's got to be number 2 though, right?
Philly fans are some of the wildest people in the world.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that
number 2 is good, but I used to listen to, Tyler, you probably would know it. I'm trying to remember what his name is, but it was the Philadelphia Sports Radio. If you're at home and just have like an hour to kill and Philadelphia sports is popping for like that day, go listen to it. It's incredible.
When a guy saves a baby and references Nelson Aguilar dropping balls like right off the bat, I mean, that shows you everything you know. And nothing's going to top that as far as Philadelphia goes.
Yeah, it's the best. So if you want to listen to that, definitely got to check that out around. If the Eagles blow a game, turn that on for that Monday. It's incredible to listen to the fans go nuts. But that'll wrap it up for us here on the Run Pure Sports Morning Show. Be sure to check out the rest of the content that we have going on today. Subscribe to the channel to get notified when we go live. Like the video. We appreciate it a ton. Coming up at 4:45, you got the MLB Swing for the Fences show. 6 o'clock, you got the final countdown. That'll be on there on the premium side. And then at 8:30, we got the Strokes Game PGA show. So you do not want to miss out on all the content that we have going on. Tomorrow, I'll be live with JJ at 11 a.m. talking about the MLB card. There's some early games too. So it should be a good time. Be sure to join us for that. But that's going to wrap it up for me, Mangone, Tyler, and Spread. We'll see you guys later, and go Celtics.